My Lords, this debate is taking place at a very opportune moment, and let me welcome one thing which I've been pressing ever since the ill-fated reforms from our fellow Lord Lansley came before us. I believe that it is an essential reform to return to the situation where the Secretary of State holds the democratic responsibility for the running of the National Health Service. And I hope that when this power is restored, we shall see it a duty of the Secretary of State to promote in England a comprehensive health service designed to secure improvement in the physical and mental health of the people of England and in the prevention, diagnosis and treatment of illness, and for that purpose to provide or secure the effective provision of services in accordance with this Act. I want a legal responsibility of answerability in this House, which we've not had for 7 years, but the largest quango in the world. And I believe this must come, and I've been arguing for this in the NHS reinstatement building for 7 years. We need to understand, when we look at the COVID situation and the wonderful way in which the NHS and those who support the NHS responded in that crisis, to the unpreparedness from 20 years of structural vandalism for the NHS. Hospitals no longer serving geographical areas, the incoherence and fragmentation of an unrecognisable NHS. It has come about through 4 legislative acts, 2002, 2006, 2008, and above all, the ill-fated Health and Social Care Act of 2012. When we look at post-COVID, as we must, and for reasons that have already been advanced, I must say I don't have the massive criticism that seems to pour out day after day for what has happened. I think there have been many great achievements. But let us be clear about the problems and the predicted problems. In December 2016, the then Chief Medical Officer, Sally Davis, at an international conference that as a result of the Cygnus simulation exercise of influenza pandemic a couple of months earlier, made it clear that we could not cope with the excess bodies and face the threat of inadequate ventilation. This was the Chief Medical Officer of Health, revealing the situation that was facing us 4 years before it faced. Why was nothing done? Did she represent to the Secretary of State, then Jeremy Hunt? Did she take these issues up right through? What about the prevention of health itself, which has been neglected for years in this health service and constantly been unforgotten? It's also easy to spend on the headlines. We had enough headlines out of Sir Simon Stevens, but why was not more done to prepare? Why did we have NHS bed occupancies over 100%? Didn't just happen with COVID, it was happening way before that, and levels of 98%. We used to think it was wise to have a 75% bed occupancy. This whole idea that the NHS can be run like a marketplace, where you maximise at all stages your profits, and you run things at 100%. The NHS is very different, and I do urge this House to get to grips with it in a way which we never did 7 years ago with the legislation that went through. I also ask the House to look at some of the other problems that we're going to face in the future. Mental health has been neglected for years. Look at the fall-off of psychiatric nurses, and yet speech after speech, whether it's from ministers or from health administrators like Sir Simon Stevens, talk up new ideas, new initiatives, when staring us in the face of basic deficiencies of how a mental health service can be run and what it needs. And we will face this ever more than before now that COVID has hit us. And post-COVID illness is going to affect, in particular, the young.